welcome in. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining me. It's Peta-Gaye from My Cruising Family, and I'm going live to recap our Carnival Venezia Take 2 cruise with the Melnanetsi 1.5 group. It was amazing, guys. It was amazing. So if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm looking at the chat, excuse me for looking down, just to see if anyone is in and if any questions come through. But hey, what's up, Phil and D? Welcome in. If folks don't have questions, believe me, I've gotten a bunch as recently as yesterday in my email. So thank you for folks who have been commenting with questions, emailing me, DMing me on Instagram. I believe, responded to everyone, but I wanted to go live. I put this poll up, and thank you for everyone who responded with today being the choice time to go live. It was either today or next Saturday. And I wanted to come on live and answer some of the questions that I have gotten in email or DM, because I figure if one person has the question, somebody else may have the question. So that's why we're here. So thank you guys for being here. I have, again, my fun times from both sailings. So if I need to refer to that, don't hesitate. You can ask questions about the scheduling of events and things like that. Hey, Allan, what's up? Allan is upstairs, guys, with the boys. And my mom went to church and she didn't get home yet. She went to church from like 10 a.m. She didn't get home yet. So I'm downstairs in her dining room doing this so my boys won't interrupt us. Yes, for sure, Phil. So Phil and D's question is, did you notice the difference in the presence of security from the first sailing versus the Melnanetsi sailing? So we did. Hi, Phil Logan. Welcome in. Welcome in. Phil and Margaret Logan is a couple that is so supportive here on YouTube of pretty much all the cruise creators that we follow. So it was such a pleasure to meet them on the Melnanetsi cruise. And Phil and D's travel spree, who just entered that question in the chat, it was amazing to meet them. We've been fans of them for quite some time. And so Phil and D and See It With C, and of course, A Rich and Jazzy Life and Addie and Terry, and tons of other content creators, your favorite couple, were all on the Melnanetsi group cruise. So that was definitely a highlight, to meet other creators, to meet supporters, and to meet new people. So just wanted to throw that out there. It was a huge, like, kid in a candy store moment when we all first got together for our day one mixer, where everyone from our group got together to get our goodie bags, but more so to see each other and say what's up. So it's good to have them in here. And I'm going to jump into Phil's question about any difference in the security. So the last time I was on here with a live recap from the Venezia, it was the inaugural sailing. Security was everywhere, and sometimes you notice them because they had the big security written on the back of their black or navy blue shirts. Other times, because I'd seen them so much on the cruise, I would notice them even when they were in supposedly, I guess, undercover. I knew it was security. So they were everywhere, like patrolling across the little stage on the Lido where the shows and stuff would be at night. Sometime in the day, you would see them there. They were not lifeguards because the pool is all the way on the other side of the Lido. So there were a lot of security out and about on the inaugural. On this sailing, I saw security, but I didn't see them half as much. And I didn't see the drug sniffing dogs. So I believe I heard that there were two. When I was on the inaugural, I just thought it was one because I never saw two of them at one time. But I had seen them out on Lido, Lido aft in particular. And I'd seen them in the hallways time and time again on various floors, various decks. So I didn't see that on this cruise. So the security presence was a lot less. There is a video that I have up. And so I encourage you guys, if you're watching the replay here, go ahead and still comment below if you have questions and I will answer them. But I encourage you to watch a comparison video. I don't remember if I mentioned the security presence on that one, but there were a few differences with the Venezia. And if you remember on the last live that I did like this after the inaugural, I had mentioned the sail away party being on Lido aft on the first go round. And I was saying every other deck party we went to on the inaugural was on the main Lido. So I didn't see a reason why sail away couldn't be there. And so this time around, funny enough, it was there. And I had no idea that they were changing that. So, things will change, I'm guessing, over time as the ship progresses. It's only been sailing in New York for 2 months. So, or in the US, I should say, for 2 months. So there's that. But And Phil and D said most times we noticed security was in the club at night. Oh yeah, I've been seeing that on you guys. Was it on your vlogs? I've seen it on some vlogs that the dog was in the club on the first night, I believe. I think that might have been on Brown's Party of Five vlog. So they noticed security in the club at night and also on the very last night. Oh, there was a fight in the pizza line around 3:30ish. That's crazy. See, we had pizza, but I think we got pizza at like maybe 10 o'clock that night or maybe a little after, but we weren't up at 3. See, Phil and D, they be up at all these times where all the craziness is going on. One thing I have to say now, watching the vlogs though, so you guys, if you've been following my cruising family, you've seen that I had a little hiccup with my camera. And so there was a ton of voiceover where I wouldn't have usually done voiceover. So what I will encourage you to do is go check out Phil and D's Travel Spree. Go check out Brown's Party of Five. Check out See It With C. She did an entire movie of the whole cruise from beginning to end. So that's really good to watch. Check out, of course, A Rich and Jazzy Life. It was their cruise. I haven't really seen anything drop from Addie and Terry yet. You're welcome, Phil and D, of course. There was also JB Odysseys. How could I forget JB Odysseys? They're rolling theirs out right now, and just a ton of vloggers. And if you go to my last day on board, day 4, I have all, the vloggers that were on board listed in the description box. So you can click in and follow if you so choose, but definitely check out their vlogs from this Venezia sailing because everybody had a different perspective. So I say all that because in watching my friends' vlogs, I realized the club was actually cool. So we had a Melanin SC mixer on day 4. And that was one of the highlights, I feel like, of the trip. But because it's a mixer, Carnival only allowed, I think, was it 2 hours? We didn't have a whole lot of time in the club or in the lounge where we had it, which doubles as the club at night and the comedy club. So that space does a lot. So because we had limited time, DJ Terry did his best and put in a whole lot of stuff that I'm sure people enjoyed. We enjoyed as well. But, I'm a Caribbean girl. I didn't hear not any of my reggae. He did play a little bit of reggae, so the Caribbean music and stuff, it seems like that was really, you could really get that in the club. And I haven't been on Carnival in 10 years, so I totally forgot that. And when we went 10 years ago, once was for a wedding. And so we did have, a DJ and a party there. But I totally forgot that they really do have West Indian music. So watching the vlogs, I'm like, oh, shoot, next time we go on Carnival, maybe Allan and I should check out the club because that's more our stuff. Yeah, we could jam to some hip hop and whatever, R&B. It's cool. That's my like junior high school years. But my roots is in that reggae, and I see that they were playing the reggae in the club at night. So that's another thing. Carnival is still a fun ship. You will find a party, and you'll find it in the club at night. But even without the club, we still found like the DJ was good during the day and all that. After 10 years of not sailing Carnival, would I sail them again? Absolutely. So it hasn't been anything against Carnival. What it has been is Carnival hasn't sailed from New York. So this is now 4 Carnival cruises we've done. A matter of fact, the reason why I will definitely be looking to sail them probably soon is for Allan, AJ, and me, we're only about 1 Carnival cruise, and it doesn't have to be a long one. A 3-night will do it. 1 Carnival cruise away from hitting gold. So right now we still got that red card. At least it's not a blue card. We got a red card, but we're a little bit off from gold. So we'll probably be looking at Carnival hopefully in the next year so we could at least get to gold with them. But the thing that got me with Carnival, I think after them, the next cruise line we had tried after 10 years ago, forget when we tried Royal. LJ was 1 when we did Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas. We did that, and I remember Allan's instant reaction when we were in the room and they were like playing their music through the little intercom that you could hear in the room, and Allan was just like, oh my God, this is so boring compared to Carnival. So, we definitely felt and missed Carnival immediately when we changed and sailed another line, which happens to have been Royal. That said, that was Adventure of the Seas. Since then, we've done Royal Caribbean's Oasis class. We did Harmony last year, and that was a lot more active and exciting than Adventure. But that first Royal sailing made us miss Carnival immediately. Hey, Melina Mitchell, welcome in. Melina's another person who sailed with us on the Melanin at Sea cruise. So yeah, the Carnival vibe is unmistakably one that we enjoy when we're cruising. We do I don't know. It's weird because I feel like we create our own fun too, but we do think Carnival, of all the cruise lines, it doesn't matter what we think. The world has dubbed them that anyway, but we do think they are the most fun ships at sea. Hi, MH Family Adventures, welcome in. And so we'll definitely sail them again. We're looking, I'll be honest, we never usually announce our cruises ahead of time. Sometimes because we don't know, and other times because we just like to pop up. This time is because we don't know. But one of the cruises we've been looking at is one that Phil and Dee did, which is the Carnival Radiance out of LA. So we've obviously done Mexico before because most of the Western Caribbean cruise itineraries includes Cozumel. But, you know, LA does the other side of Mexico. So you could get some Ensenada, some is Cabo on one of them? I think Cabo might be on, I can't remember if that's Carnival's itinerary or Norwegian. I don't remember. But you get that other side of Mexico as opposed to the Cozumels and Costa Maya that we've done before. Hi, Pooh's Mommy. Welcome in. Thank you guys for being here. Life with Stills, welcome in. Life with Stills was also on Melanin at Sea, and you need to check her vlogs out because this was great to see from a first-time cruiser's perspective. And a first-time New York cruiser going under that Verrazano Bridge. Her day one vlog of that was just, it was amazing. It took us back to 10 years ago when we first did Carnival out of New York on the Splendor, going under the bridge. But Ensenada and Catalina, thank you, Phil and Dee, on the Carnival Radiance. So we were looking at that, and Royal Caribbean does Cabo. Yeah, we were looking at the Navigator. Yep. So we were looking at that. We still are, and we were looking for sometime maybe December, because that's my birthday month. Phil, that's your birthday month too, I believe. You know, December baby's in the house. We need to celebrate our birthday. Oh, you're welcome, Life with Stills. I booked my friend on the Radiance this past April. Yes, so that's what Phil and Dee said in their vlogs too. Oh my goodness, yes, Team Sag, Phil. Oh my goodness. It was crazy to me because sailing from New York, it's not cold, but I mean, I guess it depends on the time of year. But sailing from LA, where you wouldn't expect a cold sail away, they were freezing on sail away on their vlogs too. Thank you for reminding me of that, Melina. Because then if we do December, then chances are, yeah, it's gonna be cold. But we're not sure. We're not sure about Radiance. The thing with us, we sailed on Venezia because it sailed from New York, and it was Melanin at Sea. So with the 1.5, it was shorter than what the first Melanin at Sea cruise was and what the rest of them are going to be, which is 1 week. And it was easy for us to kind of fit in with Allan's work schedule. He had to actually request those days extra added to his vacation because he picks his vacation every December. And so he was already set for the whole year by the time they made the announcement. And so he didn't have that week off. So it was good to not have to request a whole additional week, and it worked for our schedule, and we didn't have to fly. Yes, Melina's another Sag, the November Sag. We didn't have to fly. So a little secret share with you guys, as secret as public YouTube could be. Landon, LJ, our little one, absolutely does not like flying anymore. And I'm like, are you truly my child? Because I love to fly. I loved flying before I loved cruising because I've been flying since I was 4 years old. But I get it because we had a really turbulent flight on the way over to LA to Disneyland in 2021. Before that, he was fine. Like he's been flying since he was 2 months old. Two months old, yeah. When we went to Jamaica. So he's been flying. He'll do it, but he hates it. So sailing from New York was a good look. The problem is not a lot of ships leave from here. The other problem is those that leave from here go to the same place. So another thing we were looking at, because we did Bermuda, and you know, Bermuda, the first cruise was a wash. We're looking at doing Bermuda overnight. And we have done Norwegian Cruise Line before, but not from New York. We did Norwegian Cruise Line to Cuba in 2017, I want to say. We did Norwegian Cruise Line to Cuba. And then I did Norwegian Cruise Line by myself for a birthday cruise in December 2021, my first solo cruise ever. And so I want the family to experience Norwegian again, because the ship that went to Cuba was an old one. It was the Norwegian Sky, and we loved it for what it did. We stayed overnight in Cuba. It was great, but it's an older ship. So Norwegian has so many newer ships that we were looking at possibly doing one of their new ships out of New York to Bermuda for an overnight. So that's another possibility. I know, right? Moving down to the A. There are so many New York transplants in Atlanta, rich and jazzy, as a matter of fact, right? So many New York transplants. Oh my goodness. Friends from church, like Allan and I, we've met at church actually, how many years ago now, Al? 17. Like it's been a minute. You'll see that in October in our heart to heart vlog, or heart to heart collab that we have planned to drop on our anniversary, October 10th. But so many people, like, church looks so different to us because so many people have left and gone to Atlanta. Even friends who I've worked with at my job, office mates and stuff, have moved to Atlanta. 18 years since we met, yes. 17 years since we've been together. But so moving to the A would help, because then you guys just drive over to Florida. I hate driving because I'm in New York. I hate driving. Allan is our designated driver, okay? I hate driving. I'll do it. I've had to do it, and I'll do it, but I hate it. Are you going to do any of, the next Melon at Sea group cruises? Well, I joined Rich and Jazzy's membership so that hopefully we could win and get on Virgin Voyages. Y'all, we have shut down after this cruise, and it's not actually the Melon at Sea cruise fault, because we had that one booked before we booked the inaugural. But your girl done depleted all the funds by doing this Venezia so close together in the summer, right before school starts. We're in back to school mode. Like, money is dwindling. So being quite transparent, as I always try to be, we are trying to build back up our travel funds. We really have no travel funds right now. We have one cruise book, which is next August on the Disney Magic, because we are going to get to Lighthouse Point, Disney's new island, during its inaugural season, of course. So other than that, we haven't booked anything. Yes, Brooklyn and Atlanta is what we call it, Melina. So many Brooklynites have moved down there, but so many New Yorkers. But yeah, so we haven't booked a Melanin at Sea cruise in the future yet, but we would like to win the 2.5. We actually had booked the Brilliant Lady for Allan's birthday in March of next year. So March of next year is March 23rd is Allan's birthday, and there's a sailing. I think it was the week of your birthday, Al. The sailing that week. If it wasn't that week, it was the week after or before, because AJ is always on spring break around Allan's birthday. So it was a whole week. So we knew he wouldn't have to go to school. That means I don't have to take him, because he takes the train into the city with me. And so my mom hopefully would be able to watch him and LJ. And we were going to go for Allan's birthday, and I canceled it. One thing that I didn't realize with Virgin, when you book, it's a little different than the other cruise lines, where you could book with a deposit, and then that deposit is usually, for most of the main cruise lines, refundable. Yes, cruises are expensive, Melina. The deposit is usually refundable until final payment with, like, Carnival, Disney. Most of the cruise lines we've cruised, actually all of the cruise lines we've cruised until now. With Virgin, when we booked it, I didn't realize that the deposit, I think they still credit you. You just don't get your actual money back. The deposit is not refundable after a certain time. So I think it's refundable after 2 weeks or something like that, maybe 7 or 8 days after the booking. And I mean, we wanted to hold it, but not that bad. We weren't 100% sure. And it leaves from Puerto Rico, and the airfare from Puerto Rico is a little sketchy right now. Yes, MH Family Adventures, maybe that, let me see, but those, I know the prices. What we did, thankfully, we had 2 placeholders from our Disney Wish cruise last year, August. And so with the placeholders, you get 10% off of your future booking, and we booked 2. So just for those interested in Disney, if you're ever sailing Disney, you can get a placeholder for $250 while you're sailing on the ship. That $250 will be held, and you will have a placeholder, including like an entire booking number and everything. You just don't have it booked on any particular ship yet. And then when you get off the ship, or maybe while you're on it, who knows, you find a cruise that you want within the next 2 years with Disney Cruise Line, and you apply that $250 to it. And so that goes towards your cruise payment, but you also get 10% off of the Disney cruise price. So the $250, you haven't lost it at all. It's going towards your next cruise, and you're getting a 10% off the Disney cruise fare. So we did that last year, August, when we did the Disney Wish, and we got 2 placeholders, and we got 2 rooms for the sailing to Lighthouse Point. So at least we got the 10% off, but yeah, Disney prices are no joke. The good thing is your sodas and non-alcoholic drinks are included with Disney, and it's a short one, the one that we picked for Lighthouse Point. So it wasn't crazy. And it's going to be special to me, guys, because the Disney Magic was my first ever ship in life in 2005. So I'm looking forward to that. Yes, and not a blackout date. Exactly. Always check for blackout dates, guys. Yeah, so we are looking at those sailings. Disney is booked for sure. We're looking at Norwegian, possibly to do an overnight in Bermuda to get that experience, to not rush through the day. We had a great experience on Melanin at Sea. And I know this chat was supposed to be recap from Melanin at Sea, but I find this is fitting because not everyone, but most of the people in the chat were on the cruise, and it felt like a family. It felt like people that we've known forever from chats like this and from interacting online. So to be honest, the recap of Melanin at Sea was a big family reunion, and it's in all my vlogs, and it's in all the vlogs for the folks that I mentioned earlier, some who are here and some who you can check out from the list that I have in the description box on day 4, the day 4 vlog from the Melanin at Sea cruise. But along with that, it's kind of sad to wrap up the Melanin at Sea cruise because we don't have another cruise booked. And to be honest, this is like the real deal, real life for me, right? So we are a travel, particularly cruise channel, but we travel and show other things. If you guys scroll back a little bit through our videos, you'll see Allan and I did a vacation in Montserrat last year. We did a vacation in Dominica last year. And so we do a little bit of flying too, but it's sad to not have those trips planned. I'm excited about Disney, but it's more than a year away. And so we are really in heavy duty planning mode right now. I know Melina says she refuses to book another DCL, Disney Cruise Line, until they release the treasure, period. I am so with you, Melina. When we got these placeholders last year in 2022, knowing the Disney treasure would come out in 2024, our goal was to use the placeholders for 10% off the Disney treasure sailings. There are no Disney treasure sailings listed yet. And I mean, I've been looking, we've been trying to keep up. Yeah, so we'll see. Yes, Phil and D's travel spree. You gotta take little PJ on a Disney cruise. Oh my goodness. He always finds Mickey Mouse. Yep. Yeah, I know he would love, if that's the case, I know he would love a Disney cruise. I don't want to overhype it so much to folks who, may not be big Disney fans themselves, but you guys seem to be that way. I think you guys went to Disney for a birthday, didn't you? So I think you would enjoy it too. It's not just for the kids. If you guys know, I did a solo Disney cruise last year, January into February. It wasn't meant to be solo. I wanted to take my boys, and then there was a whole scare with COVID and all this. Anyway, I went solo and got a placeholder then, and then took the boys on the Wish using the placeholder. So placeholders are my thing. I love to get them. They've helped our family out quite a bit. Yeah, February 2022 for Dee's birthday. That's what it was. Yep. So I think you guys should try Disney on the High Seas. I think you guys and PJ would love it. And oh yes. Oh, Crimson would disown you. I hear you. My boys knew that. So long story, try to sum it up. AJ's birthday is also in December, like mine. And so after I did the solo cruise on Norwegian, the Disney Wonder cruise was already booked for myself and both boys. So I was coming back from the Norwegian cruise. I would have gotten back to New York on December. Oh my God, I can't remember. It would have been right before Christmas. I think December 23rd. And so because the cruise was booked already, their Christmas gift that December in 2021 was going to be a cruise with just mommy, just me and the boys out of Galveston on the Disney Wonder. While I was chilling on the beach in Cozumel on the Norwegian cruise, chilling by myself, I get a call from LJ's school saying there was a positive COVID case in his class. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. So then I reached out to my mom and Allan, told them, please take both boys, get them tested. AJ doesn't even go to LJ's school, but they share a room. So I was like, just in case, get both of them tested. LJ tested negative, so that was fine. AJ, who had no symptoms and only got tested because his brother was in a class with someone who had it, AJ tested positive, but we really to this day believe it was a fluke, because then after that, we got them tested again. We always did a drive-through at Walgreens, but for whatever reason, they had gone to a pediatric urgent care to get them tested, and that's where it was positive. And I promise you, I already have a theory. I was like, they mixed up his stuff with somebody else's. It got contaminated because they've done Walgreens tests after that where he was negative. But I didn't want to fly all the way to Galveston and then be turned away because Disney was testing you on the spot. At the moment you would get on the ship, which is why I chose them, and it's why I chose Norwegian, because that's the only way I was getting back into cruising, my own choice at the time. I wanted to be tested the day of, but it was a bag of nerves when you make that choice. And so I didn't want that to happen. And then we get to Texas and they say we can't board, and then we'd be stuck in Texas for New Year's, because this would have been a December cruise, and be in quarantine. So we scrapped it. At that time, you could always cancel your cruise and get your money back and rebook. So we scrapped it, and I rebooked just for me in January because the kids had to go back to school. But they knew the plan. We still presented them with their like Disney book bags with a bunch of Disney swag or whatever. They just couldn't use it yet. And I went in January so I could get the placeholder for them to get on the new ship, the Wish, in the summer. So that was the whole story. That's why I went by myself on Disney. I didn't actually plot to leave the kids, but it worked out because I needed a solo trip. So in any case, that's our Disney life. The only cruise we have booked in the future right now is Disney, but we're looking at Norwegian to Bermuda. We're looking at the Carnival Radiance on the West Coast for a short cruise so we could get to gold on Carnival. Because we sail all the different cruise lines, our status on all the cruise lines are kind of blah, okay? Like, the only great thing is that we can wave into Virgin Voyages because we at least have some status on the other cruise lines. We waved into MSC way back in 2017 when we first started sailing them. So we already have status there. Hi, Gina's World. How are you? I need to link up with you on Instagram, because I was like, wait a minute, when I saw your Instagram comments, I was like, Gina's World is from YouTube. Yeah, anyway, always piecing people together from Instagram and YouTube now when I see the names pop up. But thank you for being here. Yeah, so we're looking at a whole bunch of different things. The Venezia was a great way to kind of wrap up our 2023 cruising so far. To be honest with you guys, I came into 2023 saying that I honestly felt led to this, okay? I said that we're not going to be cruising a lot. We are going to have, because the finances had already started to dwindle. We're going to have to buckle down. I could focus on my cruising family. We do these vlogs, but also my professional background has me a little bit uneasy when certain like paperwork isn't done. So my cruising family's paperwork has been filed years ago. We were LLC, so we have the business stuff going, right? But being a business is one thing, but I'm putting out content out here, and I'm like, I got to protect my content. So back in January, I want to say, we filed for our trademark for my cruising family's trademark application, which trademark applications right now take about a year plus to be approved. So that's done. Those of you who follow me on Instagram know I've been doing a women's entrepreneurship course. So this year, honestly, even though I strayed away from the buckle down, you're not going to be traveling all over the place and vlogging until you get your house in order with your paperwork, I have still been focusing on the paperwork and the foundation for the business side of my cruising family. So when you don't see me, just know that I'm working on a lot of foundational stuff so that you can see me more frequently in the future. So working on the finances, working on our trademark, working on all the business and legal foundations that we need to have in place, because I'm not playing. Yeah, people on these streets try to take your stuff. And even if it's not take your stuff, you know, you want to be legit when you're reaching out to these brands and all that stuff. So that's another thing. We pay for all our cruises, guys. So when you don't see us, know that we are a regular schmegular round the way, down the road family who pays for all their cruises and doesn't live near any other port but New York. And we're not going to be going to Canada and Bermuda on every cruise. So yeah, we're saving up for the future cruises. And if you know me, I don't just cruise to cruise. I cruise to hit new places. And when I finish the Caribbean, because we've gone to every country in the Caribbean so far, not every island, but every country in the Caribbean, we've done that by plane or by ship. And now I want to branch out. That's why we did Dubai last year, December, for my birthday. And now we're looking at, and it shouldn't be a surprise. So we're looking, if you remember when we were on Emirates and we were flying close to Africa to get to Dubai, and I'm like, this is the closest we've gotten to the motherland. We are looking at some African itineraries as well. The time frame for Africa cruises is similar to Dubai, though. So last year, we did Dubai in December. We booked it in October, flew in December, and cruised in December. The cruise period for Dubai is usually towards the end, so fall, winter of one year into the early winter months of the next year. By March, they're wrapping up the Dubai cruise season. And so for Africa, it's very similar. I actually think they wrap up Africa a little earlier. Last year when I looked, Dubai sailings went to like the end of March. This year I'm looking with Africa. The sailings go to like early March, maybe like single digits in March. I don't even think like March 10th or 12th. Yep, I don't think you can get into an Africa cruise, at least not with MSC, which is where we're looking at that time. So we're looking at Africa. What else? There's some other places I want to get to. So we've done the Caribbean. I've done Europe. Family hasn't, so I want to get the family over to Europe. We've obviously done North America and Mexico. We've done Central America, and Allan and I have done South America with Colombia, but I want to get into some more South American countries. So MSC is where we're looking for those additional cruises. Other than that, we are looking at the Melon at Sea 2.5. I do want to do Alaska next year. I've looked at 3 different Alaska options. Really, before Melon at Sea announced 3.0, I was already looking at Alaska. Oh, you never cruised to Bermuda. Me either, Gina's World. Not until the Venezia inaugural and then the Melon at Sea cruise was my first cruise to Bermuda because I just hadn't done it yet. But that's really the only thing from New York. When we did Carnival 10 years ago, it was an 8-day on the Splendor. We cruised from New York to Turks and Caicos, so, Grand Turk. We cruised to Half Moon Cay and Nassau. So that's where our 8-day went. So 8 days for 3 ports, that you can get more ports in 8 days if you leave from Florida. But for us, the convenience of New York is why we did that one. And you don't really see a lot of that anymore. So the Venezia actually does have some of that and some 15-day and longer days sailings. But with my new job and all that, those long cruises are probably not going to hit, especially because most of them are during the school year. So, boys go to 2 different schools. I can only lean on my mom so much before she breaks with these boys. So I usually take our older son to school because his school is near my job, and she usually takes our little one. So we're at the point now where we're looking at when the boys are out of school. I used to pull them left and right when they were in elementary, and LJ's still in elementary, but he's going into 3rd grade and there's testing and all that starting. So I'm trying to be more conscientious and work around their school breaks. But yes, Africa should be great, Melina. I'm looking, we'll see. And I'm, sharing all of these things with you because literally every day, this is what I've been looking at and trying to figure out how much we need, what we need, when we need, and trying to get a plan in place. Because usually I have multiple cruises booked, and this is quite different for us, but it's where we need to be right now. So we have Africa as a possibility. I want to get to South America as a possibility. Alaska. I was looking at Disney. Disney has a 5-night Alaska next year, July, which I was looking at before the Melon at Sea group cruise was announced. So don't know yet what I'm going to do. If given the option between both at this point, I think it would be the Melon at Sea group cruise because it's a 7-day, so it's longer and it's more bang for your buck when you compare the celebrity price to the Disney price. No surprise there. So if between those two, that's a possibility. To be honest, though, the other Alaska cruise I was looking at, again, before Melon at Sea announced its 3.0, is a Norwegian cruise in August. Our Disney cruise is next August. But being a family of 5, you got to look for creative ways to travel. So one of the things we had been looking at is the Norwegian. Remember, I said I want us to get on Norwegian again. And in case we didn't want to do a Bermuda overnight, we could do a Norwegian Alaska because we want to get to Alaska. So Norwegian has a 7-day Alaska cruise that leaves out of Seattle the week before our Disney Magic cruise to Lighthouse Point. And being a family that usually travels 4 to 5 deep, I thought, well, let's book the Norwegian cruise. We haven't done it yet, but let's book the Norwegian cruise to Alaska in August. So we would fly from New York to Seattle and we would sail Alaska. And then it's not like the very next day, we would have like a 2-day turnaround, which is good for us to then fly from Seattle to Florida. I believe it's Fort Lauderdale that the ship is going to be leaving out of for Lighthouse Point. So Fort Lauderdale, so we could get on the Magic. And then after that cruise, we fly back to New York. That's just 3 flights versus 4 flights, which adds up when you're traveling as a family of 4 or 5. So that's what we're looking for. New York City has some nice longer cruises, like 15 days, but it's hard while still working. Exactly. I agree, Gina's World. Crimson is in 3rd grade too. And I'm an educator, so I look at that. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that, Melina. I didn't know you were an educator too. Yeah. So I actually am a big supporter of pulling the kids for travel. I don't think, you just pull your kid left or right for anything, but I do think travel is, it's important. And I think it's a great way to learn as well. And we've been doing it since the boys were little. I mean, since they were infants, they were traveling, but then when they started school, I would pull them from daycare, pull them from kindergarten. And so I've been doing that. It gets a little trickier now with the 2 different schools and all the different schedules. And so, yeah, for us, I think for me more than anyone else, mentally, it's easier for me to work around the breaks. But yeah, to be honest, especially looking at Africa and it having such a limited time frame to get in, if we even do it next year, it might have to wait till 2025, who knows? But looking at the limited time frame, I may have to pull one. I don't know which one, but we'll see. We will see. But yeah, we also want to get to Australia. The Disney Wonder is doing Australia. But I don't know. I don't know when that's going to happen. So we're trying to hit all the continents, okay? Even Antarctica, that's probably going to be the last one after we get all the other stuff, out of the way. But we're trying to hit all the continents. And right now, Africa is high on the list. More places in South America is high on the list. And Australia is on our radar. So it's kind of flipped because I was thinking I would talk more about like what we did on Venezia and then get into our future plans. But this is fine in terms of future plans because for me, honestly, Venezia is in the past, and my mind has been every single day on what's coming next. So yeah, this is kind of the what's next for us. We don't know yet, but those are the possibilities. So don't be shocked if we show up in Cape Town on our next vlog series. But there may be other things before that because I'm not sure how soon we will be able to swing that. Some of the questions that I did get on Venezia that I did want to go through in case other people had these questions. This is obviously from the New Yorkers, or at least the folks in the tri-state area or close by. Parking at Manhattan Cruise Terminal. I thought the video was pretty clear, but I'm getting questions that I'm like, okay, maybe it's not because I didn't say the price in there. It was there on the side of the toll booth, not toll booth, I was about to say token booth, but the booth to get in the parking lot. It says $45 per day. But it's $45 per day. So when people ask how much is the parking, that's as specific as I can get. What we paid for parking is not going to be the same as somebody going on a 15-day cruise. And so it was worth it for us for 4 days. I don't think we would do it for 15, but it depends on where the person's coming from. If they're drivable from Connecticut, it might be worth it because how much is, transportation from Connecticut going to cost to get to New York? So you got to look at things like that. And depending on how many people are with you. This is only the Venezia. It's the first ship we've driven to because we've only sailed from New York 10 years ago on the Splendor. And then we took a lift and Landon LJ wasn't even born yet. So it was 4 of us because my mom came and we took a lift and it was easy. So, driving and parking at the port, this was our first experience with it, was the Venezia, and we liked it. For 4 days, I think it was worth it. For 8 days, it may be worth it for a family of 4 or 5 because there's so many of us on our bags. We usually have to get the big lift. We usually use Lyft, not Uber, but same concept. We usually have to get the big lift, which is more expensive. So that's why parking actually works out for us. So that question came up a lot. How much is parking there? So $45 per day. As to if it's worth it, it's going to depend on your circumstance, how many people, how far you're coming from, how many days you're sailing. Another question we got, this one was by email yesterday, was about how late you could disembark from the ship on disembarkation day. Now, the question was how late was the latest luggage tag? I honestly don't remember because Allan went to get the luggage tags and I don't think he looked at what was the latest time. But what I can say, I'm looking at our debarkation morning form that we got from Carnival, so I'll crumple it up. But what I can say is you get to stay in your room until 8:30, which I think is pretty reasonable. There are other cruise lines where your get out the room time is much earlier, I think. So 8:30 is the latest time you can be in your room. And then the Lido and Tomodoro are open for breakfast until 9. Let me double check. 9 a.m. We wanted sit-down breakfast each debarkation morning. So we went to Canal Grande, and that's only open until 8, which means, to be honest, obviously you can't be in your room till 8:30 if you're going to go to Canal Grande at 8 o'clock. But 8 o'clock is the last time you can get there. And so I would suggest the latest that you're putting in the app that you want a table at Canal Grande. I'm suggesting the latest be 7:30. And then, the app will alert you when your table's ready, and they hold your table for up to 10 minutes after you get the alert. So that's debarkation morning. I would say if the Lido and Tomodoro are open until 9 a.m., give yourself maybe 30 minutes to an hour to eat and wrap up and get off the ship. I don't know if you'll have to pick up pictures at Pixels or whatever other little things you may want to do. But then in my head, my thought is the latest you're getting off then is 9:30, 10 o'clock. For us each morning, when we were getting off the ship, I believe our tag number 10 was supposed to be called around 9:30, 9 o'clock. I can't remember. But for us, we didn't get called until I think it was after 9:30 each morning. It might have been after 9 on the second debarkation day. The first debarkation day or disembarkation day, whatever you want to call it, we got called off close to 10. So yeah, that's the latest that I see. And I know that when we're doing online check-in, the earliest time you can check in, I believe, to arrive at the port, I want to say it's 10 or 10:30. So of course, if you're getting off the ship, you can't be staying on there at 10 and 10:30 when folks are getting on. So I would say 10 o'clock probably is the latest you should get off the ship. So that question we got, that question I've answered here. The other questions are, I believe were answered throughout the vlog series, but just to recap, we did have the steakhouse dinner on night 1 this time, as opposed to Il Viaggio. So our first Venezia sailing, we did Il Viaggio on night 1. You get a complimentary little shot of limoncello at the end of your dinner. You do not get a bottle of wine. However, for the steakhouse on night 1, you get your complimentary bottle of wine. I've been told 2 different things. You may have to ask for it or they may offer it. So if they don't offer it to you, ask for it. But our waiter offered it to us and we got it. We got the, what did we get? We didn't get the red, we got the white. And that was pretty good. I think it was Chardonnay. And I hear the red wasn't that great, but the Chardonnay was good. And I'm not a wine connoisseur, as you could tell, but it was good. And we have heard, I'm looking at my notes, that the Il Viaggio restaurant will be offering the complimentary bottle of wine sometime in September, I believe. I think this was in See It With C's vlog. She did a whole movie from day 1 through day 4 of the Carnival Venezia Melon at Sea group cruise. And she mentioned something about them not having the complimentary bottle of wine at Il Viaggio yet, at least not until, and she gave a September date. So those sailing after September can look out for that. And you can report back. Let us know in the comments if you got a complimentary bottle of wine from Il Viaggio. That's pretty much it. The parking, the disembarkation question, and yeah, we pretty much did everything else. For the differences between the 2 cruises, I do have a comparison video on that. And then throughout certain days of the cruise, towards the end of the vlog where I wrap up, I make note of certain changes that I saw from the inaugural cruise to the Melon at Sea cruise. So I thank you guys for joining us. If any questions come up, hey, Team Reese, I'm just seeing you in here. Welcome in, Team Reese. If any questions come up, let me know, whether it be in the, I was about to say chat, in the comments, or, if you're following me on Instagram, you can always DM me. And as I mentioned, that debarkation morning question showed up in my email. So the email is there on our YouTube page. It's on our Instagram link in bio, but it is mycruisingfamily@gmail.com. And you can send your questions via email as well. Thank you guys for joining me and have a wonderful rest of your day. We may do another live when we do know what our travel schedule is, because as I said, we don't usually release it. But yeah, it's going to be a while if I don't come on with the live. We may actually put up a poll for you guys to help us come up with the travel schedule. So that's my thinking. Those are my thoughts about what you're going to hear from My Cruising Family next in the interim while we're not traveling. Alongside that, my attorney, who did our trademark application process and research and everything, she's also a content creator. We met years ago on Instagram and we've been in constant contact. So I may bring her on because there are a lot of content creators that actually subscribe and support My Cruising Family. And there are a lot of things that we may not pause to think about. Again, my professional legal background has me a little uneasy with some of the stuff just flying at the seat of my pants. And so I've worked with her, LaChana Edwards. She's in Atlanta. I've worked with her because trademark is actually federal. So she could actually work on trademark stuff. She doesn't have to be a New York attorney to do my trademark. But I've worked with her through a number of different conversations and different things. And I think it would be great to have her come and have a conversation with the content creators who are a part of our community. So if you are interested in that, it's a thought that I had, but sometimes we have thoughts that may flop or that may not be great for your community. So if you don't want to hear that, let me know. If you do want to hear from her, let me know. You could comment down below. You could message me or email me to let me know if you want that sort of content. It wouldn't be ongoing. It would be a one-time live where we have Q&A with her. And it could be on YouTube or Instagram. So that's all, folks. That's all I have for you guys today. And again, if you're watching the replay, comment replay below and let me know if you have any questions on the Venezia or future travel plans. Thank you, Team Reese Travel. She said, do it. All right. And I had reached out to LaShawna to see if she would be interested, and she had already said yes. So it's a matter of us connecting if you guys are interested. So we would, put that together. And she doesn't just do content creation and trademark law. She's an all-around attorney, just like me. She has a full-time job and then does content creation on the side and her law firm on the side. But she's excellent. And she has 2 kids, one who is in sports. And so she even does like some sports law, information sessions for parents of kids who are in the sports field and arena about what to look out for and agreements and certain things to protect your kids in terms of their use of their image and likeness. I was trying to remember the phrase, image and likeness for your children. So yeah, a lot of interesting and important information can come from that. So I'm looking forward to that. I was mulling it over because it's not travel related. Funny enough, she loves to travel too. But this forum would be more about, the legal protections for us as creators, for us as parents of kids who we have out on the internet where we're sharing their pictures, image and likeness and things like that. So I think it'll be a good conversation. And from 2 of you so far, Melina and Team Reese Travels are right. That's a go. I'll let you guys know if and when we get that scheduled, more of a when we get that scheduled. I'm thinking sometime in September. So it's been real, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening and weekend and have a great week. Bye.